What's going on YouTube? Private KJ back with another video. Shot Callers Podcast. We're back. Today we're going to be talking about the Monday slate of games, 02/08/21. So if you enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Turn on post notifications so you never miss a beat. Live stream starts Sunday around noontime. I'm really going to make this intro a bit quick. With that said, though, I'm here to talk about a multitude of things. I'm pretty sure one game was postponed, if I'm not mistaken, but if not, we still have plenty of games to talk about. Um, and shout out to Lamelo Ball because we're gonna talk about the Hornets and the Rockets first. Shout out to him, bro. I mean, ever since he's been starting, man, he's been just a killer, bro. Okay. So we'll get into that, but ladies, gentlemen, and ballers, day 20 of Bradley Beal still being a part of the team. Okay, let's keep that going. Okay. Now the Wizards still continue to suck, but they did beat the Chicago Bulls. So I don't know, maybe it's a step in the right direction, but every time I say that, they end up going on like a 5 game losing streak. So I'm just gonna stop saying that nonsense, and we're just gonna go on to the first set of games, Rockets and Hornets. Okay, so this game. Just a dominant overall performance by Lamelo Ball. 24, 10, and 7. Shout out to Gordon Hayward, though. 19 points. I tweeted out yesterday. If you're not following me, the Twitter and my Twitter will be in the link. And the link will be in the description. But Lamelo Ball and Miles Bridges are must-see TV. I said that in my tweet. It is so amazing to watch them kind of just cook up. Um, that lob threat, the fast break, and lob finishes are just ridiculously fun to watch. Like it's really insane. Miles Bridges is so athletic, and Lamelo Ball is such a great passer. So that's what it's just so fun to watch. Devontae Graham is still out with injury, so that's why Lamelo is starting now. For as hot as he's been, Lamelo deserves to start. I've been saying this. I think at the end of the day that Devontae Graham is better as a sixth man, where he can just be an elite scorer because they roll out end of the game lineups with Terry, Lamelo, and Devontae. So at the end of the day, it works out just fine. I just think Lamelo has proven himself to be better than Devontae this year. And obviously Lamelo is your franchise piece going forward, so why not? Like I said, sometimes at the end of the day, you just gotta kind of take those training wheels off. And for superstar talents, you just got to let them go to work. Because as a rookie, he'll have his ups and downs. But he's just way too talented of a player to just kind of keep handcuffed. So I'm glad to be seeing that he's starting. Cody Zeller 10 and 7. Miles Bridges had 19 and 10. Malik Monk off the bench 14 and 4. I'm starting to get a little sense that Malik Monk could a potential be. He reminds me of an athletic kind of Lou Williams. I'm not saying the same play style, but he gives off that vibe to where like he's so confident that he can go get a bucket off the bench. I really like what Malik Monk has been doing this past couple weeks, and I hope to see him grow with the Charlotte Hornets team because I don't think he's as bad as people thought he was his rookie year. He was just so skinny and so small and didn't really understand the NBA at the time. So I like how they haven't given up on him because I really do like his development so far. I don't see like all-star potential or anything, but I see Lou. I just think of Lou Williams when I think of Malik Monk's peak. Where just like maybe a perennial, 18 to 20 point per game player off the bench and just a good scorer, like a Jordan Clarkson type player as well. But with that said, let's go on to the Rockets. This was a little difficult. Now they did not have Christian Wood, so obviously that sucks. But they did start DeMarcus Cousins, but defensively DeMarcus Cousins is not what he used to be, and you could just clearly tell. But at the end of the day, they shot 27% from three, and this was just a not a good shooting performance by the Rockets. Even though Victor Oladipo did chip in 21, it was just not on great efficiency. No one, when you look across the board outside of Jashawn Tate, really shot that well. At least by their main players, I should say. Ben McLemore did, but he had 15, so I'll give him that. But you can't win games when Ben McLemore is kind of playing the best. I'm gonna just put it that way. They scored 94 total points, and that's just not going to cut it. With that said, though, we are going to move on to the Wizards and the Bulls game. Now, I did not watch all of this. I'm going to be completely honest, but I watched enough. And man, Bradley Beal, 35, 5 and 7. So I've been thinking a lot on the potential of Bradley Beal, and I think I'll talk about this in the podcast Sunday. Let me know in the comment section what you guys believe. Is Bradley Beal a superstar, I'm going to have a discussion, but I'm not going to get there. Like I said, we will have the discussion on Sunday, or I make a separate video. But I want to know what your position is on Bradley Beal, because he is leading the league in scoring. But I know a lot of people are saying he's overrated, and like, yeah, he's leading the league in scoring, but he's not a true superstar, and that people can name like 10 to 15 players easily better than him. But with that said, I don't think Westbrook played this game. No, he did not. He did not play this game. Davis Bertans shipped in 12 points on really not that great efficiency once again. But Rui, 19 and 10 double-double. Great game from him. Alex Len, solid defensive presence. Glad we actually signed him, matter of fact. And this was just an overall kind of one of those Bradley Beal kind of carry games, I'm not going to lie. But from the Chicago Bulls standpoint, Zach LaVine did kind of cook up. But at the end of the day, there was really no one else outside of Thaddeus Young that really kind of chipped in all that much, in my opinion. Now, they are missing players like Otto Porter, Markkanen, and Wendell Carter. So that's a huge reason why they lost this game. But at the end of the day, Kobe White needs to be that person who steps up, and I continue to talk to him about him. Kobe White, I don't see it in him. I really don't. Now, like I said, it's only his second year. I'm not giving up on him, but I just don't see that kind of star potential like a lot of Bulls fans came into thought he could do. So, that said though, shout out to Thaddeus Young for being another really good role player for this team. He's been a really good and quiet playmaker. For that being said, that can't be acceptable, and this is why I need another playmaker, because Thaddeus Young cannot be your best playmaker. At the end of the day, yeah. So that kind of sucks. But there's nothing really much to say there. Two bad defensive teams and bad overall teams kind of battling out. Just that plain and simple. Next up, though, we have. I did not watch the Raptors and Grizzlies game, so I'm going to kind of skip over that one. We had the Timberwolves and the Magic. And man, because I have Kristaps Porzingis in fantasy basketball, whew, did he put on a performance? Oh my goodness. 27, 13, and 6 blocks with 4 steals to go along with it. Boy, was he was just everywhere. I don't know what happened, but he legitimately looked like he had like a week's off of rest and was just fresh, had fresh legs. Now, Luka Doncic did not shoot the ball amazingly, but 26, 8, and 5 from him. Tim Hardaway Jr., though, shout out to him, 24 points off the bench. He played great. And I'm glad to see that Maxi Kleber is back. Now, I know he's not some like insane player or anything, but he's just a really good role player. Mark Cuban talked about him, if you've never listened to him speak or anything, on his Mavericks team. And he says Kleber is one of the most important players on this team because of his role, how well he's able to play his role. And I completely agree with that. So shout out to the Mavericks. Now, it's so funny because I did not watch the end of the fourth quarter because they were up by like 20, okay? I get the final score report and they win by 5. So shout out to the Timberwolves, man. I mean, Malik Beasley and Anthony Edwards were cooking up. Those two just could not be stopped. Josh Okogie played solid defense, the best defense he really could. D'Angelo Russell, I'm not really sure what happened with him. I think he kind of left the game early. So I'm not really sure with that, but for any fantasy basketball card people, buy Jalen Noel stock right now. Go and get your cheap, I don't know what the price is, probably like $1 or something like that. Buy Jalen Noel stock right now. I picked him up in fantasy basketball as well. I'm not saying he's going to be good, but he has so much scoring potential, bro. He is a scoring combo guard, okay? And that is valuable in the league. I'm not saying he's going to be an all-star or star or anything, but go buy Jalen Noel stock. I truly believe that he's going to be a baller in the league, a shot caller, okay? Shot caller in this league. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to make this clear one more time. Jalen Noel, learn his name, okay? Because he's been tearing it up recently. Learn his name. With that said, though, good win for the Mavericks. At the end of the day, the Timberwolves still suck on defense. And this is that plain and simple. Now, my favorite game of the day, the Spurs versus the Warriors. Oh my goodness, was this a fun and funny game. If anyone's not aware, Draymond shot a really dumb shot at the end of the game. And everyone's kind of clowning on him for it. But my point I want to take away from this, Steph Curry goes off and Coach Pop had Murray boxing him had a boxing one on him. And that's very interesting because I like that idea. And even so, then Curry dropped like 32. It's just ridiculous how good he is. But for the Spurs perspective, Oh my goodness. The Spurs perspective. DeMar DeRozan deserves respect from the NBA, and he continues to prove how underrated he is. And overall, that Spurs team is just so underrated. Um, are we unaware that DeMar DeRozan has been an above average playmaker this year? Like his whole career, he just been like says mediocre, just a non-existent playmaker, and that was what we wanted to see DeMar DeRozan because if he could take that next step he could really last in the NBA because everyone kind of just thought he was going to fizzle out because he's just going to be this inefficient scorer, kind of how Rudy Gay kind of was in the prime of his career. And so I love seeing how Coach Pop has brought that out in him. It really shows how good DeMar DeRozan. And if they decide to trade him, boy, a contender is going to love having DeMar DeRozan. Because at the end of the day, he's just not a number one option. I think that's what failed him in Toronto. But as a number 2 to 3 option, I think he can thrive there. I really do. The Spurs team though is normally how Coach Pop isn't going to allow them to beat themselves. It really showed here. Now they weren't exactly hitting a ton of shots down the end of the stretch, but defensively they were locked in. Now Steph Curry hit some tough shots. They did hit the Warriors some tough shots, but the Spurs were not phased, and that's what I like. That is the heart of a champion. That is a coach who knows what he's doing, who's been to 5 championships at the bare minimum. 5 rings, baby. Coach Pop knows what he's doing, and I like how he uses that veteran kind of savvy coach stuff. That's not really a great kind of technical terms, but you know what I'm trying to say. He knows what he's doing. At the end of the day, you can see it and kind of showing on these Spurs younglings compared to like how the Timberwolves are just so bad on defense and they don't have that kind of championship DNA to lead. Draymond though, like I said, I'm so confused on what he shot. And I think the athletic presence of James Wiseman is really being missed on this Warriors team. This past week or so, it just brings a different dynamic when they just had this athletic freak of a 19-year-old James Wiseman. So where Kevin Looney just doesn't bring that. And I think it helped overall. Now, I do understand that James Wiseman has his flaws where he just kind of makes those rookie mistakes. But at the end of the day, it brought another kind of scoring punch and another punch to that team where Curry didn't have to backpack the team, and he just had another kind of scoring threats. That's like a consistent scoring threat at the basket. I think he really did help. Draymond though continues to show why he's so important to a winning culture and to the Warriors alone. I'm on the side he is a little overpaid at the end of the day for like the $120 or whatever $1 million he got paid. But at the end of the day, I do think he is kind of worth the money. With that said, though, we're going to go to the Cavs versus Suns. This will be the second to last game, and lastly we have the Lakers and the Thunder. Cavs and the Suns I'm going to keep very quick. Or I'm going to make this quick. Booker went off, no Chris Paul this game, okay? And what I took away from that game is Ayton down the stretch not getting enough touches, but it did not matter because Devin Booker was just cooking up. He hit clutch shot after clutch shot and made the right reads after right reads. But at the end of the day, when they play a better team, Ayton needs the touches. It's just that plain simple. Ayton needs more touches. I'm going to be emphasizing this all year, and I've done it last season too. Ayton is too good of a player to be as passive as he is and as not and as what's the word I'm trying to think of? He should be more dominant. He needs to be more dominant. I have no reason why he can't be a Joel Embiid type player and average 20 and 10 in his sleep. He really could. And it's just really frustrating to see because he's a number 1 overall pick for a reason. Everyone saw the potential. But yeah, anyways, the Suns hit 63 points in the fourth quarter compared to the Cavs 1, which really changed the course of the game. The Cavaliers were running a lineup with Andre Drummond and Jared Allen, and if you were watching that game, it just looked so awkward. It was so weird to just see 2 normal, kind of natural, typical big men finish out a game in today's NBA, and you could really tell that it just wasn't working. I mean, Colin Sexton and Darius Garland had no room to get to the paint. I'm watching Jared Allen take people off the dribble. I'm just like thinking, that's just not his game. He literally, I kid you not, he catches the ball wide open, thinks for like a second or two, hesitates, then decides to take 2 dribbles to get to the rim and misses the layup. It was so awkward to watch. But at the end of the day, for as much as I want to say the Cavs had a better season than expected, they were kind of like my surprise team. They're 10 and 15 right now, and that's not good at all. I think maybe it's because we get this idea in our mind that the Cavs are just complete garbage, that they're finally having some sort of form of success, which really isn't success if it's like an average or good team. I think we're just so used to them being trash. It's just like, wow, they're not as bad as what they normally been. It's like we take that as kind of success. So I might have to take them off my surprise team because right now they've kind of fell back down to earth. But lastly, though, we're going to talk about the Lakers and the Thunder, and man, was this a fun game to watch. KCP fouled Shea in the last second, and Shea hit 3 clutch threes to send it to overtime. But at the end of the day, it was not enough. The Lakers show why they are champions and win in overtime. This game really just it seemed like the Lakers were a step slow. It seemed like they hadn't got out of bed to be honest to play. Um, no Anthony Davis this game. So that made it a little more difficult though. But LeBron James, literally a triple double goes off. Schroeder, good game. Montrezl Harrell, good game. Wesley Matthews steps up. Doesn't play much. 26 minutes in this game, 16 points. I want to talk about how Kyle Kuzma deserves more credit on the defensive end. That boy has been so underrated as a team defender. Now he's not a great offensive one-on-one defender. He still steps slow. He has slow feet. But as a team defender, LeBron really and Anthony Davis have really instilled that defensive mind and culture there, and I really appreciate that. He is rotating everywhere. He had 2 blocks and a few steals last night. Kuzma is really showing his improvement on the defensive end. So that's really nice to see. There's not much for me to talk about. The Lakers kind of whenever they decided to pick it up, they picked it up. And the Thunder showed how they don't quit ever, and that's something I appreciate. Now they were missing Mike Muscala and Roby, so that kind of hurt. Al Horford had to play 34 minutes, which he's not really used to, and they had to run Baisley at 5 a lot of times. But Baisley at 21 to 16, not great shooting from the field, but he did shoot well in the first half. Shea had 29, 7, and 10. Shout out to Shea. Hamid 20 and 11. Horford did not shoot well. Dort did not shoot well. But at the end of the day, oh, my bad. And Justin Jackson, he kind of stepped up out of nowhere. Great game from him, 14 and 4. So it's very interesting to see how kind of this Thunder's team was able to just stick with it, even though they did not shoot well from the field overall, and how they shot poorly in that overtime. And they just didn't shoot well whatsoever this game, if you really look into it. It's so interesting how they were able to just stick with the Lakers. Now, the Lakers' defense kind of kept them in the game whenever they felt like playing defense, so that's why. But at the end of the day, this was just a great win for the Lakers. A hard-fought win and a hard loss for the Thunder, but as they continue to show how great of a culture and an organization that place is. So shout out to OKC. Wow, okay. Boy, am I tired. With that said, though, that is going to conclude today's video. I know I did not watch the Nuggets and the Bucks game. Sorry about that. If you like this video, though, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Okay, turn on noties. Noti gang. Private KJ is out. But before I say that, let's see. Yep, podcast starts next week, or this Sunday, and next Sunday. What I'm gonna do is just do it every sort of Sunday. But yeah, with that said, Private KJ out.